when you get to that 16 weeks, it's an important thing, and I think it's important to acknowledge and be respectful for the people who've actually done the time, because when it's your time, you are not going to feel good if nobody pays attention. Okay, and we weren't going to, so, you know, I first want to say, since we did this last week.
No, we didn't.
Oh, when did we do it? Was it 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks
Okay, well, it seemed like last
Somebody
week.
else correctly, right?
So yeah, since we did it 2 weeks ago, I wasn't thinking we were going to do it this week. In fact, yesterday when Malika asked me about it, I said, well, we're not doing it for 2 people. And then I found out there was actually 5 people who were supposed to graduate today. But then it turns out only 2 people are here because they had to go to some other event. But so normally, or when it comes to your time, we want to make a bigger deal about it. But also twice a year, we're going to have a thing for all of the people who graduated in that first 6 months and all the people who graduated in the next 6 months to do something really formal.
Twice one.
No, much more than that. But what is important is when you finish is to get placement, and part of the thing about getting placement is you need to have your certificates when you're talking to an employer, because they do care about a third party saying, yes, they know how to do this stuff.
Yes.
So it's important that when you graduate, we do these things, we give you your certificates, but we're going to be having it every 6 months. But I think the first one is in November to celebrate our first anniversary here. So everybody that graduated from March through November, it's going to be somewhere, and it'll be an actual ceremony. We'll try to have Rob on as a hangout on air.
Me and Malika be in that one. I see.
Yeah. Will you graduate before November?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Just checking.
You threw me off on
Just
the
checking to make sure Jamie actually met the requirements to graduate. So today we have 2 people here that are graduating. The people that are not here that are graduating. Angel. Angel started back when, Rob?
January.
In January. Okay, Angel started in January. Like a lot of, especially women, it's hard to come every day. So it has taken Angel 7 months, well, about 8 months to be able to get it done. So 20 or 2 times double the amount of time.
It's taking me 5 months.
But we believe we have an internship set up for Angel with an exciting internet company locally, and that is supposed to start next week. And I had an email with the president of that company, Fred Hudson, who was here talking to our students. Email exchange today. So, so that's the situation regarding Angel. Angel has a lot of skills and will do well. Anita has been here since when?
April 21st.
Okay, so she has had pretty good attendance, right? Okay, so Anita graduated on time. She has made it virtually every day. She's over at Salvation Army, right?
No, she's in an apartment.
She's in the Salvation Army program.
She takes the bus.
Horizon Crest. They're owned by Salvation Army.
So now, Anita is a good example of what the path that you younger people will be on if you do not keep learning. When Anita graduated from high school, I'll tell you some things about Anita. Anita has very good penmanship because she learned it when she was in school. That was important. They didn't have, well, yeah, they did have typewriters, but you didn't have it in school like you do now. She learned to type. She learned to have very good penmanship. Anita was also very good at the recitals, and she was good at delivering them. Skills that were important when she went to school. She went to work for Hallmark Cards, worked making greeting cards for her whole career, and the good news was, back when she started, that was a great business because nobody thought greeting cards, whoever needs a greeting card now. I just use, what's the internet one? what's the internet card thing that everybody now sends cards via?
Instagram.
No, there's another one.
Shutterfly.
Shutterfly. You know, there's now things where you go online, you order your cards, and they do it and they send it, and everything's electronic. You don't have people running a press making cards.
Yeah, Hallmark is usually very busy.
So
Is that why like holiday cards and birthday cards are so damn expensive?
that's partially why. So, but what happened to Anita, she didn't keep learning. She got complacent. Oh, I work for Hallmark. I run a printing machine, making cards. She had some challenges in her life. Things went a little bit sideways. But then when that job was gone, her skills didn't enable her to get anything.
Yeah, she thought she was going to be there forever.
She had to come back to go to school, and it was not easy for her at all. And she stuck with it. And the other challenge she had is that when you're running a machine, you're working with a couple people, you know them pretty well, right? But you don't develop a relationship with the machine. Okay, you don't care about its feelings and stuff. And so your social skills also tend to deteriorate, atrophy, you know, get not good. Then when you try to enter the workforce and you're entering the workforce against people 20, 30 years younger than you, it's very tough. And the same thing is going to happen to everybody in here if you don't keep learning. And if you don't believe me, watch the Steve Jobs thing at Stanford where he's saying, you are the people now. But guess what? The new people, there's going to be new people coming after you. And if you don't keep learning, if you don't keep pushing the envelope, you're going to be the people who are sitting there saying, now what? Now what do I do? So, you know, I want to acknowledge, and everybody acknowledge, that it takes a lot to come back when you don't know skills. We have a couple people in here now. More people are going to be coming in next week who don't have skills, and it takes a lot to come in when you don't have skills. The good news is when you guys were on break, they told us the fact that older people, people like me, well, older people like me, no, not older people like me, older people, the people who are older, unlike me, that don't know how to use the cloud, they really like and appreciate and have confidence. And if you're willing to come back and learn this stuff, that says a lot.
Yeah.
To an employer and to them getting you employment.
Right.
Spending 16 weeks, 35 hours a week, 520 hours to learn new skills takes a lot, and they know it. And they deal with people all day long who are more like Anita, saying, get me a job, I don't have any skills. Well, do you want to go back to school? I don't have time. I don't have this. There's, you know, it's always, there's something. Well, the good news is for our people, especially for older people, to be able to say, yeah, I did do that, that means a lot to those staffing people and employers. So the message to the younger people who are here, don't stop learning, because you will be the next Anita. You will be the next Bernard, who's starting on Monday. You'll be the next other people that we've had in the past if you don't keep learning. And the bad news is the amount of change in the last 30 years from when Anita got out of high school till now is a fraction of the change in the next 30 years.
Yeah.
The amount of change in the next 30 years is going to be many, many times more than the amount of change in the last 30 years. So that means
Generation X and there is boomers?
Huh?
There's more Generation X than there is boomers?
No, I'm not saying people, I'm saying the change in technology.
Yeah.
Okay? The change in technology is going to be greater in the next 30 years than it was in the last 30 years.
That's right.
And if you think about the things that happened in the last 30 years,
That wasn't
cell phone, internet,
There's still a
flying
smartphone,
cars,
right? I'm not
All of those smart cars haven't happened yet. But the internet, smartphones, all of those things didn't exist 30 years ago, now exist. Well, there's going to be a lot more stuff that exists 30 years from now that doesn't exist today than that changes today. So learning is important. And let's see, so that, so that's 2 of the 5 people who were supposed to graduate. Dave Bergeret was supposed to graduate. And unfortunately, one of the problems of being in prison is you're not really, you have very little control over what happens into you, around you. And so he just happened to get swept up in something that was going on around him. You make one wrong statement to somebody, and if they decide that they're going to adhere to the letter of the rules, not the spirit of the rules, then it's over. So last week, what Dave was looking at is, I graduate, I'm going to start working at Larson. When I graduate from Larson, I'm going to open a campus in Reno for the school. And then when that's done, I'm going to open a campus in Phoenix for the school. And I, Dave, could see myself for the next 10, 15 years. I'm doing something I like doing, something that helps people, something that brings down the system, tears down the bad system that we have. And boom, just like in a matter of minutes, right, Rob? Gone.
But he hasn't lost all that completely. He'll be able to regain that in a year and a half.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
He was going to be getting out when? December?
3 months.
He was going to get out in 3 months. He probably won't, or he might not.
He probably revoke his parole.
Probably won't.
He didn't get parole.
Okay, so there's that. Then there's the school saying, okay, well, Dave, you've been gone for 3 months.
We got someone else.
You're not really ready right now. Let's say he gets, what's the likely thing of time he's going to get? I don't know.
When he'll get out, probably a year and a half from now.
Okay.
2016.
So instead of 3 months, he might go another year and a half. Let's just say it's 6 months after that. If Dave gets out and he comes back 6 months from now and says, I'm ready to open Reno, is it realistic that we're going to say, okay?
No.
No, because he hasn't been here for 6 months. This has changed a lot in the last 6 months, right, Rob?
Especially even 2 years, even make you less of a chance.
With Google, since I've started, they've advanced these applications and updated. There's so many changes that happen on a week-to-week basis with this stuff, and new things come out. We kind of cater towards what's new.
Yeah, exactly. So Dave won't be prepared, and even if we wanted him to, he won't be capable. He won't be competent enough to go open Reno. So, but it was just like, boom, that. No warning. He was on the top of the world. I'm going to start my job, start getting money on my books. Does he have money on his books now?
No,
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to start getting money on my books. I'm going to be able to go to Walmart. Life is good. I'm going to be able to start thinking about an apartment. Doing this is how much money I should have when I get out. To now, really, really bad. And everybody knows that Dave was very helpful here, focused, concentrated. And so, the lesson from that is this is a police state. You just have to, when you're under their control, when you're under the supervision of the system, you might be smarter than 10 of them, but they have 1,000 people. Okay. And so, Victoria had a lot of good things going, right? She was very helpful to the school. She did great last week at the job fair. Good personality, on track to have good things happen. Now she's going the wrong direction, and it's going to be harder and harder.
Smiley Road. She's going down.
Okay, so Caesar, right?
Same thing.
Okay, and as part of this, I don't know what to tell you where you guys are in these houses where you are, but you really need to adopt a all for one and one for all mentality.
Help each other out.
Even though most of society is every man for himself.
Right.
Okay, but you need to have a all for one and one for all. If somebody is faltering, the way the system is set up is they're going to push you off that cliff. Yes, Rob.
Well, my experience is, yeah, the state, they're not playing around. And once you get into the system of the prison system or that felony system, they do what they want with you. I was on probation for 3.5 years across the country from this state, and they decided they're going to violate me, and they brought me back and took another 18 months out of my life. So they're going to do what they want to do. So it's in your best interest to complete the program where you're at, put everything behind you, move forward. You're young, and just get out of the problems that you're having. So.
See, now when the camera goes on, start calling Rob the cricket.
And I've seen it happen. 1 year turns into 10 years. It's that my brother. You know what I mean? Just follow me. Overnight. I do.
Yeah, right.
Ain't nothing left.
So, I strongly encourage you to help each other succeed. For the school, we're now heading towards a path with these courts where they're saying, we're opening a fire hydrant. You just want a little drink of water? Well, we're opening a fire hydrant, so you better be able to handle this. Okay? And thus, for the school, and we're not held accountable at all for Victoria, right? Nobody's saying the school contributed to her doing things.
No.
And when people from Casa Grande violated, we had a lot of guys rolled up from here. Not because of what we did, but just because of deviating, right? And doing things they weren't supposed to do. Huh?
You didn't sell her that.
Correct.
Really good thing. 1
Yeah,
year.
exactly. So, so the thing is going to be that we're going to have more people coming in than we can really deal with. And if you aren't helping each other, then we're not going to be in a position to really help people not falter. As much as we try, we're not in the best position to do that. But if you don't do it, it's not good out there. As Rob said, if you get in the system here, they're not going to let you go. In California, it's 80% recidivism. Here, they're proud to say it's less than 50% recidivism in Nevada. But in California, it's 80% recidivism. So, it's bad, and the solution to that is education.
50% is a bad rate, because that's like saying 1 out of every 2 of you is going to go back to prison.
Yes, Jamie.
I got caught up in the system at 12 years old in California, went from probation to parole. I didn't get off until I was 25. I went back 4 times a year apart.
So 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So now that you're 27.
Yeah, but I'm done.
Okay, so now we have 2 people who are here that are graduating. Malika and Jamie. And so Malika, why don't you come up so we'll give you your certificate. What'd you say?
So I feel like I earned them.
Well, you did earn them.
You did earn them.
Okay, so this is pretty heavy. So you've got a couple of them in there. Okay, so, Malika, you start when?
April 10th is what.
Okay, April 10th. And you had good attendance. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I maybe missed 4 days in 16 weeks.
And when Malika started, she was pretty rough, right?
Oh.
New hairstyle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was pretty rough.
Okay. And and then we noticed at a certain point, it was, hey, did you see how Malika came to school today? And then it was just constantly like this. So, for that we have to acknowledge that something in Malika's life was good to get her on the track, because that's what employers want. They want people who care. And when it would come time to doing the weekly tests and things, Malika's just always been a steady person, doing the best she can. When it comes time to doing the weekly assignments and the daily assignments or helping somebody else, Malika has always been very good, very helpful to people, and that's something that's beneficial to the school. Because when you leave here, the expectation is you're going to help that employer achieve their goals. It's not, you don't get stable and meaningful employment if you act like a sheep. You're just a slave, a wage slave. Somebody that shows up, they don't care about the job, they just show up to get paid so that they can have a day and a half a week to do sort of what they want to do. That's not the purpose of this school. And so it's important that people help each other out. And I know Cody's out over helping, and everybody here is pretty good at doing that, and you're going to get better. And Malika has always been good. In the past, we had some people that weren't so good about it. And when they do that, it casts a negative shadow over other people. When somebody's saying, should I help? If your mind goes to the person who doesn't help people, it's easy to decide you're not going to help. And Malika never went down that path. So, Malika has been a good student. We have a position that I think will be starting next week at Pigeon Lee, which could lead to something very, very good. You felt good after yesterday, right?
Yes, yes, I did.
And, you know, on the thing about the job fair, if somebody, somebody here, at least one person is going to get employed. Now, when you do, the thing is to help bring in other people.
That's right.
And I know, or I feel very confident that, what's her name over at the market? Helen. That if Cody gets a job and says to Ellen, you know, I've got a friend from Larson who's good. I've got Nick, and she trusts Cody, and they need somebody, that Nick will get the chance. And if we just do this a step at a time, everybody will be there. And again, if we get in at the downtown project, or when we get in at the downtown project, when you get into the downtown project, this is something that could go for 20 years, 30 years. And when we met with Dave Gould today, what was your feeling about Dave?
He was really cool.
Good guy, right? And Ellen, good person, right? Maggie, good. Everybody is, they're not trying to grind people down. So this is a great opportunity, a great place to work. And now, so here's what Malika is getting. Business, typing, 35 words.
All right.
Is that right?
Yeah, I started out at 19.
Okay, 19, almost doubled it. So 35 is there now, you're employed. You've got to keep it up, because typically, I know when Carmen left here, she was gone a week, and they gave her a typing test when she did her thing. She went from 109 to like 95 in a week. So keep typing. Business, sales, and communications. Certificate of completion. So that's good. Great. So that's the underlying course. Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, and a special certificate for social media.
All right.
Because of the stuff that you helped to do. So let's give Malika. And what would you like to say?
I like to say Larson has taught me a lot. I've learned a lot about myself, a lot about the business world and things I didn't know about Roman history and the Jesuits. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Malika.
Okay. Next is Will Nada. Where's Will?
Can you take a picture when I get my certificate? Like since my mom.
Okay. So maybe we should put the camera down a little bit lower.
Just a little bit.
How's that?
I'm gonna call her now.
Okay. So, are you taller if you sit down? Okay, go ahead. Sit down. All right.
Actually, it's
That's a good.
So, okay, everybody has had the experience of Jamie, right? And I will tell you that Jamie has made everyone better. Because if it's easy, and we have a poem in the book about that, when everything is going good, it's easy. Life is easy when everything is going good. But when it's not going easy and you still make things happen, that's when it's important. And I think everybody here will agree to say that Jamie has definitely made it more frustrating being here. Right? But that's good. But that's good, Jamie, because that helps everybody get better. And one thing I can say for sure about Jamie, are you going to start crying again?
No, I'm okay.
Is Jamie puts his heart into it.
Amen.
When he does something, like when he's doing the directing, he puts his heart into it and he does a good job. When he's doing his work, he's doing the best he can. When he came to the hearing, when the somebody on the staff that recommended to the commission that I should not be allowed to teach because I have a felony background, Jamie came there, you walked, right?
So you gave me a ride.
Oh, did we?
I gave you right back. I didn't give you right there.
You gave me a ride there.
Okay. So anyway, Jamie was there. He went to the hearing, which was down the street. And when this thing was going on, Jamie, you got pretty emotional, right?
Yeah. It didn't look like he was going to get it.
There wasn't a dry eye in the courtroom.
No, I mean, it was, they really didn't want to give it to you.
Well, that's how it seemed. The staff had recommended not that I couldn't do it, but then when it came to the vote 2 hours later, they voted 4-0 that I should teach because this is a unique school.
And there were still another 15 to 20 people that wanted to speak on your behalf.
Yeah, well, this is about you, Jamie, not me. But what I can tell you, though, is that the chair of the commission that votes on all post-secondary schools, in the 2 hours before the vote would say things like, yes, I had good teachers that helped me out, and I respect the teachers I had that are good, but I never had an ex-con for a teacher. You know, so there'll always be the negative shot in there. And but at the end, he acknowledged this is a unique school, and because it's a unique school, we should have the kind of staff that we do have and the thing that we do. So all's well that ended well. But I think perhaps for the commission, seeing Jamie's heart into it, that it wasn't just people coming up to say things, that he really meant it. And I know for everybody else around him that wanted to speak, Jamie's spirit and his emotion and his commitment said a lot to all of the other people who were there for the cause. And when they wrote the story about the school in the paper, they interviewed 3 or 4 people, and the one person who got mentioned in there was Jamie. So Jamie puts everything into everything he does. When I was today at the job fair and they're talking about somebody, and they said, yeah, he lives over at one of those places. He has a cook. He's a cook, but he's applying for a dishwasher position. I think they were talking about Jamie. And in my conversations with Sherry, my belief, what I said, and Sherry agreed, was, you know what, I think what they're going to do is they're going to say, let's give this guy a shot, despite the fact of how frustrating we know that he is. That's what they get to learn. But when Jamie gets there, wherever he goes, it will be frustrating, but it will force people to become better than they would be otherwise. Because when it's easy, you don't push yourself, you tend to lay off. When you're trying to do work and somebody is cussing at their machine, or this doesn't work, I can't do this, what do I do? And you know that he's going to say the same thing next week, right? Because he said the same thing every week for the previous 15 weeks. You know he's going to do that, and you still get your stuff done. That has made you a better person. So Jamie, thank you. And here's what we have for Jamie. typing 13 words per minute.
All right.
Okay. Now we should give Jamie a special one for 10 key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have
200.
236 on that.
236.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Move it out.
Okay. So we should do that. So let's try to do one for Jamie. You know, maybe you can come get it next week or whatever. So, okay. Business Sales Basic Microsoft Word. So you're happy about that, right?
Yeah.
Good. And you have your certificate of completion and a special outstanding effort award. Cool. For you, Jamie. So maybe you can come back and we'll have the Jamie Beto Award like we have the Saul Gonzalez Memory Recitation Award.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Wait, Jamie.
I think I'm about 4 weeks shy of getting this, but it's been a really good experience. I've learned a lot.
Don't you want to say more? Yeah, picture, Jamie. Okay, wait, let's get out of the... Okay, stand on your toes.
I think this is
Good.
the best opportunity you guys are going to get right now, you know. And if you guys just if you put hard in this, you'll go far with this. This is just the beginning of this. It's going to keep getting better and better.
Thanks, Jamie. Okay. All right. Anybody have anything else, or we'll take our break?
2 weeks.
2:36.
64 and a half.
Yeah.
We're going.